Welcome to the Sanity Project podcast, the place for internet technology professionals whose work-life balance plan has imploded. We are here to provide solutions that will help the IT pro live a sane, healthy, and prosperous life. Here's your host, Joanne Victoria.
Hello, this is your host, Joanne Victoria, with another edition of the Sanity IT Project podcast for IT professionals whose work-life balance has imploded. We're here to provide solutions that will help the IT pro live a sane life. Our guest today is Dr. Shirley Piccarreto. Dr. Piccarreto is a naturopathic doctor, certified herbalist and instructor, health and wellness counselor, teacher, and now a first-class author. She's been inspiring people all over the world to get well naturally for over 30 years. Dr. Piccarreto is a wanderer of the world, having explored over 16 countries in the last 6 years with her life partner, Mark. Her life is amazing and made more so with the launch of her #1 book, Healthy, Lean, and Sexy at Any Age. It launched #1 in the United States, Australia, Canada, the UK, Germany, France, and Japan. What a wonderful thing to have happening. Welcome, Dr. Shirley Piccarreto.
Oh, thank you, Joanne. It's a lovely welcome that you've given me, and I appreciate the kind words. And I'm kind of excited about what's transpired in the last couple of days myself. It's nice to really get your work out into the world, right? That's what as an author, what you're really wanting to do. So yes, exciting times here.
To launch #1 is just amazing. I'm sure it's just made you just so excited.
It has. I was actually, I'm a talker and a communicator, and there was actually a period of time on Tuesday night I was literally, and you could ask Mark this, I was kind of speechless. I just kind of like, wow, it's still absorbing, but I'm more excited that the things that I've learned and picked up and espoused and, taught over the years are now have such a big audience, and I'm really hoping to inspire so many people. So that's the biggest gift of all.
Well, your audience is lucky to have you give them this kind of information. So what I'm looking at is we have a lot of IT pros, internet technology pros, who pretty much sit at their desk for 8 or more hours, sit in their car for 4 or more hours, all in one day. And that's not including breakfast, lunch, or dinner.
Sure.
And they are, from my experience, they're fogged up. Their brain's fogged up, their body is plugged up, and their mental acuity is at risk for their job and even the driving. I mean, how can you do that all the time without having some effect on all of your senses? Absolutely. So how do you think what you know, what you teach, what you've learned would help our IT pros live a more peaceful, successful, fun life?
There's so many directions that this can go into, and, so we can start, with just a couple. Part of the good news is that I'll start with this, is that the body can get healthy at any particular time. It's not like you're missing, one leg and it's never going to change. We can choose to make changes within our health. At our cellular level, we grow new skin on the palm of our hand every day. We grow a new liver about every 8 months, a new spine about every 10 months. So our bodies are constantly in flux. The choice becomes, do we want to regenerate or are we going to be degenerating? And so I ask that. In fact, I open up with that in my first book. So some of what you've described with some of the folks that you're working with, it's possible that regardless of whether they're 20, 30, 40, or over 60, they may indeed be degenerating. And that's what happens when we're not taking self-care, and I can elaborate on that in whatever way you like, but I'll turn that over to you and see what areas we'd like to explore from there.
Well, I'm looking at keeping people physically alert and clear so they can focus on what they're doing at any moment during the day, whether it's personal or work. So how would you help people stay, right up to the edge using all of the clarity of their energy to accomplish their work and life to the best of their ability?
Got it. And one of the things that I would, highly, highly recommend would be a liver and a colon cleanse. And people might be like, wow, well, what's that about, and how is that related? Well, a couple different things. A little bit of anatomy. Our liver, is a resilient organ. It sits under the right side of the rib, and it's basically our filtration system. So when you think about what you may be taking in during the day, maybe you're, taking in some additives and some preservatives. Maybe there's, some Diet Coke. Did you use some, Crest toothpaste today? Did your Vaseline Intensive Care have blue dye in it? Do you have a Glade plug-in in the office? All of these are environmental toxins that start to stress the liver. And when the liver gets stressed, our moods shift. Okay, a lot of this is Chinese medicine, and our moods shift. And how do they shift? They shift like this. We start to be quick to anger, easily frustrated, lack of patience. And so this can affect our workplace as far as how we're feeling and how we're going to, choose to deal with things. The other thing that happens when our liver is stressed is we have a hard time sleeping between the hours of 2 a.m. and 4 a.m. because this is actually circadian clock, the body's natural rhythm, and when the liver would, quote, wake up. Now, you could wait, if you wake up at 2 o'clock, just like a bullet, right? You're so wide awake, you could go pay some bills, you could write some copy for your webpage. You're just crazy wide awake. That is one of the, symptoms of knowing that your liver is stressed. The other is that we may feel, quote, hungover in the morning, even though we didn't have any alcohol. So this is what's called a liver hangover. So how does this affect someone going to work? Well, sure, you wake up and go slam the alarm down or say, oh crap, or whatever that is, because you're kind of shuffling off to the coffee pot trying to clear the cobwebs. A lot of this is just liver. So if we cleanse our liver, we're going to have a lot more, we're going to be calmer, we're going to be more patient, we're going to have more physical energy. Now, the backside is if the liver gets too stressed. So let's say there's too much going on, there's too many medications, there's too much alcohol, there's too many of these, environmental toxins, additives, dyes in the food, preservative, I don't know if I said, medications. If this goes on for too long, then our liver goes into a weakened state. And when our liver is weak, we actually experience moods like melancholy, like who cares, why bother, blah, 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 almost like it would be a depressive state. And again, this is what the Chinese medicine believes that depression is, that there's been, kind of a veil covered up. And so just by doing that one thing, just by doing, a liver and a colon cleanse, and it doesn't mean you don't eat, there's nothing to do with restricting food, but just by doing those things, you're going to absolutely, have a lot more energy, you're going to sleep better, have clarity, focus, and I find more zest for life, more joy, really.
Well, I know there is more than one way to do a liver cleanse. The colon cleanse, I know the method for that, but a liver cleanse can also be using supplements. Is that right?
Yes, it definitely is. I mean, I have advocated with my clients for many, many years. I advocate cleansing both in the spring and the fall, because in the spring here in the U.S., our body's ready to get rid of the sludge and the heaviness that we took on over the winter and have a fresh start. Mm-hmm. In fact, the dandelion that comes up in the spring, here, in the Northeast, dandelion is actually a liver cleanser. So there's nature telling us that it's time. And then again in the fall, as we prepare to have a stronger system in the winter months, that's another ideal time to cleanse. And then I also cleanse. I do a lot of traveling, as you mentioned, when you're on a plane. And just because it smells like pina colada doesn't mean it's a chemical cocktail not being spewed all over your seats and in the air. So that's another time. Women, when you dye your hair, I'm still doing that. But after I do, I want to get it cleansed because I don't want all of those liquid toxins that have absorbed into my largest organ, putting more stress on my liver or on my kidneys.
So is there any particular supplement that you suggest, something that you may provide on your website?
Yeah, people can get more information on it. It's a wonderful cleanse. It's called Clean Start. And there's a whole, write-up where people could read more. And I also always welcome, on my Facebook page, questions and all that. And, this particular cleanse, there's even one that is like a mild for people that want to try for the first time. But it's going to, it will literally change how you feel and function in the world within 2 weeks. Now, obviously, you want to, get a good amount of water in, and we'll talk about food if you'd like as well too, because that has a lot to do with how sluggish or unfocused we may feel. But just doing a basic cleanse like that with fiber and getting some of the garbage out, just a 2-week simple deal. The results, again, I've been cleansing with people for in this realm now probably over 20 years, so lots of great results and hundreds of stories along the way.
Well, I know that one of the free things that you're offering, which works right now, is a 30-minute quote-unquote healthy me strategy session. And the people who are dealing with either anger issues or frustration or depression, especially this time of the year, but even in the spring, they could set up an appointment with you on your website, right?
Yes, that's correct. And I actually have another a vehicle that they can do it either on the website or the address that I given you either. Because every person is a little bit different, and we want to take into account if there's any, medicines. This is very safe, very effective, but, I'm a professional and I want to make sure that people have professional advice to have the best experience to yield the best results. I mean, that's why we do anything. We want to change. We want to feel better. We want to have more.
Absolutely.
We want to have more energy. So yeah, the integrity has always been important to me.
Well, Dr. Shirley's website is drshirleysays.com, and it's Dr. Dr. Shirley, Shirley, says, SAYS.com, and her best email address is drshirleysays@gmail.com. So you can connect with her on either of those pages. Now, when you're talking about sleeping well at night and not waking up at 2 o'clock in the morning, is it strictly the liver?
No, there's really many components, and I can't tell you the amount of people that aren't sleeping well, and it affects a lot. I just got back from Thailand a couple of weeks ago, and I normally don't have difficulty with jet lag, but oh my goodness, I'm waking up at 2 and 3. I'm like, holy cow, how do people do this? You hear people all the time saying, I didn't sleep well, and maybe the other day, I've been up since 1. I'm like, what the heck does that feel like? So there are a lot of components that go into it. Some things that people can do that make a difference is really make sure that your room, is dark. And I'm talking like the hotel shades, whatever it is, because every bit of light that may come from a street lamp, or even the other night, right? We had that big super duper moon, and I got up and pulled my shades down because what happens is it's not just that the light keeps us awake because we think it's like affecting our eyes. It affects our pineal gland. And our pineal gland is right in the middle of our forehead. The Hindus would call it like your third eye. And that's where the light goes in, and that's where our body manufactures melatonin. And you're probably familiar with melatonin. It's a naturally occurring hormone within the body that helps regulate our sleep cycles. So when we have light that goes into there, our sleep cycle gets immediately disrupted. Okay, so number one is to make sure that you get this as quiet as possible. And if you want to put on some eye patches, because you are going to sleep, just that much more. The other thing that you can do, and this may sound a little bit silly, but sometimes folks get up in the middle of the night. It's very common to get up and need to go use the bathroom in the middle of the night. My guess is that you probably know your way around your house and around your bathroom. If you turn that light on in the bathroom, you are looking at another 20 to 30 minutes of possibly being awake because of the amount of usually bright light in a bathroom going through to there. If I have to go to the bathroom, I will literally take my left palm and cover my pineal gland while I go, because I just didn't want that light coming in, because that is actually where it is absorbed. And then another thing that is kind of new meaning technology, right? And the phones emit a different kind of light, and it's called a blue light. And you may or may not know about this, but the blue light actually affects our body in an even more adverse manner, causing us to be awake possibly from 30 to 40 more minutes. And so we get wrapped up, right? I'm having to make some life changes, on this in regards to how, we're going to handle our own technology issues. But if you get up in the middle of the night and you're like, oh, I got a text, and like, oh, look who liked my Facebook page, and you start getting all into that, you've got some trouble going on, because not only have you woken up your body with the blue light, but then you've stimulated your brain with information that's probably scrolling by you at a very rapid pace. And both of those are going to cause difficulty both falling asleep and staying asleep.
Yeah, that's one of the things that I do, because I will admit to everybody who's listening that there are times that I have problems sleeping or waking up, whatever, pick one, and I'll wake up depending upon the time. If it's close to my get-up time, I will, here we go, I'm confessing, I will turn on the light and start reading. Sure. And it's not a good thing to do. And I try to... In order to avoid that, I will do everything. I will count to 1,000. I will change my position in the bed. I will do this, do that, and everything else. But I have found that turning that light on, which certainly instigates my pineal gland, and then I start reading, and there goes my brain. So I am the number one culprit here for doing this. It's just not good. Common.
Yeah, it is, and I've learned to restrain myself as well too. And then the other part is before bed, and this goes into you could you Google this don't get yourself all wound up before bed. Sometimes that's easier said than done, whether we're dealing with children or relationship or just life in general, but putting, whether that's a meditation, whether that's a slowdown, whether, I don't know if you've ever tried golden milk. Golden milk is lovely, where you have say I like an almond milk, and you put in some turmeric, and you put in, some of the turmeric and some coconut oil, and it's a lovely bedtime drink that's all natural and really will, it's a drink from the Indian culture, and it will really go a long way to relax. Obviously chamomile tea, things along those lines will help, the body to relax as well. And then there's herbals, and I don't know if you use any herbals at all to sleep, Joanne, but I keep a couple on my nightstand, because if I wake up and feel like my brain's going in a couple different directions that I don't like, I throw a couple in my mouth right then and there, close my eyes, and just like you do, start counting.
Okay, we're not going to tell anybody else what these herbals are, but you can tell me.
Yes, I can tell you. I use, well, first of all, that melatonin we spoke about, I take 3 milligrams of melatonin. If you're over 50, you should be taking, even if you're over, like, say, 35 or 40, you should be taking about 3 milligrams. If you're over 55 or 60, your body would do better with 6, because melatonin naturally declines with age. It actually peaks at around age 18, believe it or not, and that's why yeah, right? So we're all downhill.
Right.
And that's one of the reasons, and it was super high, with babies and little kids, and it's one of the reasons that little ones sleep, because of course they're growing a body, right?
Right.
But it's one of the reasons that they sleep for 10, 15 hours a day, or even teenagers, are still developing, their brain. So melatonin is a wonderful addition to help with sleep. And I like to take even some magnesium complex. Magnesium is a natural relaxer, and most of us have busy brains. We just do. We have things we're worried about, whether it's finance or work or medicine or a family member. It's just. But this just helps to shut off that busy brain. And then I also take what's called Herbal Sleep. So it sounds like a cocktail, but it absolutely is. And I do the same thing for Mark. I put out his little individual thing, put mine out, and for the most part, we both sleep pretty darn solid, and that's how we heal. It's the most important component to healing.
Absolutely. Without sleep, I think you need sleep, water,
yes,
and some food, and a little bit of walking, and that kind of covers it.
Yeah, no, I absolutely agree. I mean, so many people could have their lives changed, like you say, just with water. And the amount of water is whatever, however much you weigh. If you divide that in 2, that's how many ounces you need. So, kind of back to your initial question about focus and clarity. Mm-hmm. Many times we become sluggish because we're dehydrated, and so getting that water in will literally perk you right up. And sometimes we think we're hungry, but we're not. We're thirsty. And so if we drink, some water, it's best to have water that's room temperature. It's best to not have water with your meal, because it dilutes your digestive enzymes. So drinking more in between meals. Lemon water is a big hit at kind of cleansing the body first thing in the morning. That's another way to wake up yourself and wake up your organs and allow the body to detoxify. So there's a lot of options there that are natural and don't have to necessarily be supplement induced. I agree.
What is your opinion of these drinks, whatever there might be, these power drinks? And I'm not talking about the ones with the caffeine in it, but I'm talking about, or the heavy caffeine and sugar. Right. I'm just talking about stuff that is on the shelves that says perk you up or something like that. I know most of them have sugar in it, and that's bad, I mean, in my opinion. Right. But how does it, my experience is that these IT pros, they sit at their desk and they don't drink anything except sports drinks.
Yeah, that's.
They gain weight and their brain is gone. So please tell them what they should drink.
Yeah, I don't have anything good to say about those at all from any capacity. The sugar alone. Sugar is what makes you fat. People think fat makes you fat. It doesn't. Sugar makes you fat, and sugar is addictive. It's been shown to be as addictive as cocaine. They did a study where they put cocaine in the water and sugar in the water. The mice ate the sugar, kept going back for the sugar, wanted to skip the snort, or the whatever form they had it in there. And so there is sugar in everything. There is sugar, in ketchup. There's sugar in wheat bread, and so you're absolutely right. That is the biggest thing that you want to take a look at. On top of that, you see a drink that's yellow, green, red, or blue. There's dyes in there, okay? Those are one of the things that have to be listed by law, according, FDA, our lovely FDA here in the USA, at least they made that possible that we know, but those are shown to be carcinogens, okay? All of those dyes are actually outlawed in many, many European countries and, Asian countries as well, too, but we're conditioned, that's going to taste better with that. So we're taking in dyes, we're taking in additives, we're taking in preservatives, we're taking in sugar, and we're putting a stress on our liver and on our kidneys, and we're getting fatter. So I don't know. I don't see much great, in choosing that, myself. And so you wanted to know some options. Well, a real nice drink that is super refreshing is to, first of all, you want to have some kind of good water bottle or water filter, because if it's not in front of you, it's hard to, time gets away from you, right? It gets away from you. So you want to have some water, but one of the things that I love in my water is liquid chlorophyll. And chlorophyll is the green chlorophyll that makes the plants, green, and it's full of potassium, and it's full of magnesium and all of these minerals, and it has a little bit of a mint taste to it. So you've got this nice water that's dark green, so it feels healthy too by looking at it, but it cleanses your body naturally. It's going to give you more energy. It's going to be a great red blood cell builder, so bring more energy to the brain, and it's just going to feed your body. Remember we said early on, some things are going to cause your body to degenerate, others are to regenerate. So if you want to regenerate your body, you skip the other and you start putting that in. Plain old-fashioned, lemon water, same thing. I see a lot of people, that are really conscious. They've got these, they got these juice bottles that are just water, but they'll throw in some oranges, some lemons, some limes. And you see, there's, being healthy takes effort. It takes more effort to go do that in the morning than it does to, I guess buy a bunch of those at Sam's Club or something. But
right.
That's no effort, no reward, no risk, no reward. So that's, if you choose to regenerate and you want to do more, then you make better decisions. If you're happy with where you're at, then you keep going down the same path. So.
Well, I think a lot of people who are unhealthy, and I'll use that word as an overall thing, are not really aware of it. They're just not. They may sit at the desk for 8 hours a day and so on, like as I spoke before, and they're gaining weight just sitting there because there's no movement and the liver is not operating at full capacity. And once they do IT work, I've seen people gain, 40, 50 pounds or more in a year.
Yeah, because they're using their brain so much and not their body. Yeah, no, it's a difficult, situation. The other thing that goes on within the body is that when we sit, is our lymphatic system, doesn't move. And most people aren't that familiar, with the lymphatic system, but the lymphatic system is the space between our cells, the liquid between the cells. So every organ, the liver, the kidney, spleen, they all empty, right? They're always cleansing themselves. They empty all of their debris, the residue, their dead cells. They empty into the lymphatic fluid. And the lymphatic vein it runs parallel to our veins and arteries throughout our body. And the only way, so this is all this toxic sludge. So think about it like you go out to your garage and you dump all your garbage there, but the garbage men are supposed to come, but the garbage isn't outside; it's inside. That's kind of what goes on in the body. And so when the lymphatic doesn't drain correctly, this is the thing that disease is made of, because it stagnates, especially in your lymphatic vessels, and then also in your nodes, whether that's under your arm, under your neck, and all these different lymph nodes that we have. They're really toxic cesspools, and so we can only move the lymph through movement. We can also do it through skin brushing, which is worth Googling, where you kind of move the skin with like a loofah to actually move the lymph. And massage is also another way to move the lymphatic fluid, but the most effective way is just simple walking and movement to keep that moving. And that's why people who exercise are always, always, always healthier, even if they smoke, more so than people that sit.
Right. Somebody told me recently on one of the other podcasts that I did that sitting is worse than smoking right now because of so many people who sit at work. Yep. Well, okay. Now, Dr. Piccarreto has given the listeners everything possible to become healthy mentally, physically, and emotionally by cleansing your liver, drinking right, eating right. We've focused on how to sleep well, how to function well during the day with the liquid chlorophyll, which provides potassium and other things, taking supplements in the evening, walk, go to the bathroom, get up, move, and turn your lights off. Yes. Turn your lights off at night and turn your phone off. I don't know why people get up in the middle of the night to answer a text or to check anything. It's beyond me, but I'm not attached to that. So one of the things, actually, Dr. Piccarreto is providing more than one free thing for you people here. Dr. Piccarreto is providing a copy of her latest book, her great international launch, Healthy, Lean, and Sexy at Any Age, primarily for women only, but anybody can read it. Don't worry about it. And she is providing a PDF on 6 ways to whittle your waist this week. I love that title. I just love that. As well as a 30-minute quote-unquote healthy me strategy session. I don't know what more you could ask for with all the information Shirley has given to us today. And the way to get any of these is to go to her website, which is Dr. Shirley says.
Well, actually, for the free and to get the copy of the book, which is only until actually the next couple days because it's on Amazon. So you would need to go to getwellnaturallynow.com/free/. And so that is where you can get the PDF and get the book and schedule an appointment right there on that page.
Okay, I'm going to repeat that. getwellnaturallynow.com/free/.
That's correct.
And you will find everything you need there. I want to extend great appreciation to Dr. Shirley Piccarreto. You can contact her at drshirleysays@gmail.com and drshirleysays.com. Thank you very much, Dr. Shirley, for being with us today. You've been a great guest. We all, listeners, wish you the best with your new book, and thank you very much for being here.
Thank you so much. It was my honor and privilege.
I hope you enjoyed this episode of the Sanity Project podcast. Please go to AskJoanneVictoria.com and continue the conversation on her podcast page. And get a free copy of her book, The True Self Handbook, a guide to transform your life. That's AskJoanneVictoria.com. Take care, and thanks for being here.